everyone. We are back again with Matt Senna and Nick here. We are going to be talking about Zencleanz. So there's so much to talk about. They got lots of new products and it's been helping people all across the world. So it's exciting to be able to share this with you all.
Yeah, it's good to be here. You know, I think these conversations are exciting because we are interested in so much in the health space, and we can see how this relates to everything that we're interested in. We were like, what are we going to talk about? But then it's almost a problem of it relating to everything. So we don't know how to pinpoint it. You know, it's not one particular fix for one particular problem. Where it's antithetical to that way of thinking, which is cool.
Yeah. There's just so many routes and pathways.
Well, just the enzymes in general will clean out all of the cellular waste. So,
one simplified way to think about health is constipation, cellular constipation. Would you guys say that all health problems are a metabolic cellular constipation issue?
Yeah, because we're made out of 1 million tubes. What's the cardiovascular system? Is it 189,000 miles or 89,000 miles long is the cardiovascular system? The lymphatic system's longer by almost twice as much. It's significantly longer. So that's just 2 systems in length. And we're already at like 200,000 miles of tubes in us.
Yeah, we got to keep those tubes clean. Like, you know, you're all concerned about keeping your car running well. I mean, our bodies are a machine.
Yeah.
So we got to keep maintaining them just as we do any machine.
Yeah, people who talk about blood viscosity for health know this. You know, generally lowering your blood viscosity, whether it's by giving blood or even taking aspirin. Something that I've been studying lately. It's really obvious that lowering the thickness of the blood makes people feel better and their health markers improve. But then generally we're fasting informed here, you know, being interested in what we're interested in. And I mean, fasting changes the game, you know. But, you know, so there's so much stress that goes into fasting, you know. The body is encumbered by modern things that fasting used to be able to clear that it just can't anymore. So that's where Zencleanz comes in a big way.
Right. Yeah. And like with the blood, they have is it out now? The blood lymph? I think they just came out with the blood lymph cleanse.
I believe so. I think they came out with the lungs and the lymph around the same time.
Okay. Yeah. So
I've just been a little on the broke side. I would be, taking copious amounts of this. You know, the Zencleanz is the royal way to health. It costs money for a reason, but boy, is it the answer if you've got the cash.
Yeah, and it's easy. People like that convenience.
Yeah,
100%.
Probably why it costs.
But anyway, that's just to say, because here I am talking about it, right? And I haven't tried some of these yet, and I want to. Yeah, so. Just want to get that out of the way. So yeah, I believe that they came out with the lymph right now. In general, you guys would recommend going in the order of the cleansing that the company recommends, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think so, because you don't want to, start the getting the heavy metals out, the heavy metal detox until.
If your evacuation system's clogged, then it's just going to go right up to that clog.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. Some of the worst I've ever felt is like prior to needing to release. I'm sure that everybody knows about this, but it's rather obvious. It's like right before you have a bowel movement, you can feel just about as bad as you feel in any given day. Obvious fact.
Yeah, like because of toxicity.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying.
Poisons your blood.
Like especially when I'm doing cleansing, and I've got some really toxic bowel movements. Like that's why I was like really called to eat the day after the intestinal cleanse to get the peristalsis moving and get it out, because I was just like feeling pretty rough the morning after my first intestinal cleanse. Then I had the bowel movement and I felt amazing. So yeah, you know, it's just the final clog is no joke.
Yeah, the biggest tube, the intestine.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like the, you know, the hyperbola is the center tube of the torus field. That's our intestines. It's the hyperbola.
Oh boy. Yeah. And then you've got the millions of lines that come off the top, but
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's
no, like
certainly when you go down, there's a hole down there.
Yeah, it's going like this, I guess. Good. Food going in and then going out and then going in.
I love it.
Constant flow. With our first intestinal cleanse, we ate like the next day. It was good. Then the second intestinal cleanse, we decided to not eat the second day.
Mhm.
And I know Nick
Horrible.
was suffering.
It was
Yep.
horrible.
It's just,
So on one of these next videos, we should share screen and share video from the human anatomy lab, and they're like they're real slick, you know, about our age, people that work in a morgue, and they
Oh,
got
wow.
like good, yeah, they got good editing skills and cameras and good way of teaching, and they're going through the body, every part. And one of them shows the intestines, shows diverticulitis, which
Diverticulitis,
is
sure.
when the intestine, blows a little bubble out,
Mhm.
and then poo gets stuck in there.
Yep.
So we got to get that poo out. This would be a real good.
I think I've seen their
video
YouTube
show.
channel. Yeah, you're talking about a
Human
YouTube
anatomy.
channel, right?
yes,
Yes.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I know him.
And then they show another one where like around all the intestines is like a 1 inch long, 1/4 inch wide piece of flesh matter with tons of blood vessels, and that's what sucks nutrients out of your intestines. It's constantly pulling
Talking about
out
the
of
portal vein.
yeah, maybe.
Portal vein.
Portal vein?
Is it going back to the liver? Is that the one you're talking about?
I think it's just going into the, I don't know where it goes. I think it goes into the bloodstream and just feeds the blood.
Yeah, I'm sure there's more than, you know, one vein system coming off of the colon. There's all kinds of reabsorption, which is why you feel so bad, right?
That's what I'm saying. So
Yeah,
when
yeah.
you're detoxing, it's sucking
Yeah.
in all that detox that you broke free off the colon, and then it's drinking it back into your blood.
It's like how efficient the body is with what you did give it, right? So we're really not supposed to put excess stuff in it because it'll make the most out of everything you put in there to a fault. Yeah, I've experienced the same thing. It's like enemas all day, every day for modern people. I don't believe in too many enemas. I really don't.
I do. I do sometimes 30 a day.
Whoa!
Maybe not that many.
Yeah,
More
here's the title. I thought I
And they're always urine.
Yeah, I had
good.
before we moved, I had 35 gallons of aged urine. It was black. It was so old. And before we were moving, I was like, well, I think the best way is to use this all for enemas.
Yeah.
So I had to go through like 30 gallons in like a month of just enemas. And I did it.
I'm impressed. Hats off. Hats off. Yeah, what are you gonna do? No, I mean, that's better than it's more efficient than taking it with the bath, man. That's an internal shower right there. Good for you. Wow.
Yeah.
I do love the bath though.
Putting
Like
it on your
putting
skin in the
skin.
sun, I think is really good.
Yeah.
I think it might be better because it like 360 goes and it goes into all the sites. It goes into all the lymph and blood sites and cartilage and goes everywhere. Just right to it, directly to it. Whereas if you drink it, it's got to find its way to all those calcified lymph sites, and it can't find its way there because there's so much blockages and ghost veins and stuff. So I think that's why you got to like coated
Oh,
on.
I got another reason why it doesn't go to your tissue is the liver is greedy. It goes to the liver. Yep.
Mm.
Same with supplementing various things
Ooh.
when you eat them. So this is a huge reason why DMSO or castor oil or topical administration of all kinds has a really profound effect on the tissue concentration of whatever you're dealing with, because it doesn't get first handed to the liver. And all of our livers are, this is a very nice and oriented way of thinking. The idea is that our body is sacrificing all the stores of vitamins and minerals that should be stored up for a rainy day in the liver in order to synthesize niacin. And so since we're chronically niacin deficient because of poisons that stress the body, which require more niacin production, and then lower niacin in the food supply, and that's a conspiracy. It's like a conscious conspiracy. It's not just bad planning. Our livers are very low in all kinds of nutrients because of this. And then whenever you eat anything or you take a supplement or try to get your levels of this and that up, it just goes into the storage in your liver and it doesn't get handed to your tissues unless you do dermal application.
Yeah, that makes sense. So like in regards to the liver and like the liver stones and gallstones.
Yeah, please, let's talk about that.
Yeah. Well, Zencleanz does have that, the liver cleanse. And once we get those out, do you think that the nutrient absorption would be greater?
Well, I mean, I think it's going to deal with fats a whole lot better now that you don't have all these gallstones. I mean, clearly, like my body's fat metabolism was impaired with all that in me. I couldn't believe all the stones I got out. The neon green gallstones. I mean, my understanding of why those form is because we're not processing fat well. Is there more to it than that for the gallstones?
Oh man, they form because they're encapsulating toxins to stop from being absorbed.
Yeah, it's a combination of sludgy bile and toxicity. And I guess I was thinking of sludgy bile as no, yeah, bile is more complicated than fat, but it breaks down fat, doesn't it? But anyway, the question was along the lines of how do we improve when we get rid of these stones? I mean, first of all, the organs have room to breathe. That's what it feels like.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
you know.
like I have these liver spots, just very light, nothing that I was like concerned about on the side of my face, and they're gone. They're gone after I cleansed my liver.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I think the liver's harder to clean than the intestines. I think Zencleanz,
yeah,
the feedback
I
that
think
they're getting is really proving that.
yeah.
Man, can you believe people's livers are so swollen? They're probably twice the size. Because you get upper back pain when you got
Oh,
liver. I mean, that means-
I've had that issue in my it goes to your right shoulder blade, right, as opposed to your left. It radiates.
That would make sense. Yeah.
I
Yep.
mean, that's what I think I heard that, and then
Yep.
that's what it feels like to me in my body.
Well,
Well, yeah, because it's on the right side, so it would only make sense if it's like swollen that it would press up.
and there's
Yeah,
people
'cause
that have.
right under the shoulder blade, so it's not terribly far from the liver even.
Oh yeah, man, that hurts for me.
Mhm.
I guarantee mine's. I wouldn't be surprised if it's double the size. It's probably not quite, but I could guarantee it's oversized.
Yeah.
And then you see some people have scoliosis from an oversized liver, pushing on their spine.
Yeah, Maddie's scoliosis resolved with the liver cleanses from Zencleanz. Yeah, I've heard that the fascia gets pulled towards the liver as the liver like swells and contracts, and it's like the whole net that covers your whole body gets like pulled towards the liver. And that's what it looks like, I think, in people. That's what it kind of feels like in me, is kind of this, and then the rest of my body kind of
Whoa.
doesn't it feel like that? And when that
Absorb.
releases, everything else opens up. Yeah. There's something there. I mean, clearly people are getting results and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And the more liver cleanses we've done, the fewer amount of stones that are coming out. Like the first couple times, the stones were pretty large and a lot.
Oh my God, yeah, and the emotions
Yes.
that people get are heavily reduced instantly after the first liver cleanse.
Yep. Yeah, I felt like my frustration.
I could feel because I can feel all the energy coming off her. And yes, it's frustration usually. Agitation, frustration.
I've got that. Sign me up.
We all do.
Yeah.
It stems from like a dirty liver.
Yeah.
The that
know,
It went away. It
that-
went away right away.
the agitation
It's,
and
it's
anger.
not just your beliefs. Like you can't just think it away. I'm sorry, I'm being mean.
part of it, obviously, but
Well, yeah,
yeah.
it's all one system. So it's like, if I hate myself, I'm gonna eat things that hurt me. So
mhm,
if you don't fix the mind, it never fully resolves. But
right.
I think there's some like forgiveness that we can do to ourselves, some sort of like realizing of legitimate victimization.
Mhm.
Eh,
Yep.
something. Because yeah, you're right. It's a liver problem. Like that's a real statement, It's not
Yeah.
your chosen attitude problem entirely, really.
No. And I think once the body, the liver in this instance is cleansed, then the mind is easier to change. Your thoughts. are
Well, yeah, I
easier to
think your
change.
mind is is your body. I think. Your mind is all your thoughts. It's like the electricity of your body. I don't know.
Hardly anything I like thinking about more than this topic. It's not simple. I don't have any great revelation on it. You just work on it from all angles and you find more
Yeah.
connections. It's a beautiful thing. It's like a journey. It's lovely.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
the Egyptians say that your body is your subconscious and your your subconscious mind. So yeah, I mean, it's been said.
I came up. Did I come up with it? I don't know where I heard it. It's like the body is 1/3 of the soul. That's what it feels like to me. What do you think?
Yeah. The body is 1/3 of the soul.
I just came up with that. I don't know.
Like the soul is like the soul,
Yeah,
which is the physical body. So
yeah.
and
You broke
like,
up
when you
there,
think of
Crystal. I
soul,
missed it.
like,
I
think
missed it.
of, like, oh yeah, Nick has been saying for many years that he thinks that the soul is the solid, like the physical body, the solid.
Oh wow, yeah.
But then I still, like, when I think of soul, I still have this thought process of like, like the ether spirit.
Yeah.
So it is just the third, like you're saying, like it's a third of the soul.
Yeah,
is a third of
maybe the soul was like a part of, yeah, I mean my sort of like Protestant Christian background, the soul is what you carry after death, I guess, in my imagination. But
Yeah.
maybe that wasn't the original use of the word.
exactly.
Now, because everything's swapped.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
like your whole, what did you say? A third, like what did
Soul.
you say again?
Bodies.
Oh, like a body is the third of the soul. To me,
Right.
there's the one infinite self, and then there's the finite mind, and then the body is a third of the finite mind.
Okay.
And the third is just a rough estimate because
Right.
like it's not insignificant. The body's relationship to the whole of the finite mind. The finite mind being the finite sense of self, as opposed to infinite.
Mm-hmm.
Completely no way to define it,
Yeah.
in infinite conscious intelligence, whatever. Anyway,
Yeah.
so Zen Cleanse relates to all this because it's so broad. Oh yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
it's balanced. Like, you know, you can only talk so esoteric about a product if the product is balanced. If it's not Rajasic, it's not Tamasic, it's Sattvic right down the middle. It's biochemically homeostatic, you know. So that's actually something I wanted to bring up today, is just how homeostatic it is.
Right. Yeah, and I think part of that balanced feel that it has is from how it's produced. I mean, it's produced in this like Zen environment.
For 3 years. It's like, you
Yeah.
know, time is a real element. Patience is a real element.
Yeah, and when
and
time is involved and you're paying for time, it's just a whole new level of something, isn't it?
I mean, you know how they make the analemma water structuring wand is they treat the water for a year, and talk about getting in touch with nature, real life, the heavens. The whole point of that is that the water needs to be exposed to the entire electromagnetic spectrum of the full year. So cool. You literally can't rush it.
Right.
It doesn't work. You're not exposed to the same thing. The heavens rotation of a full year is a full electromagnetic experience for water to become fully structured, according to the analemma water wand company.
Good. I like people getting that deep into this type of thing. So there's this 3 years, so three times a charm.
Ah,
I guess that's pretty darn good.
I was told by a friend, it's like, if you're serious about something, give it 3 years, and if it doesn't pan out, move on.
Oh,
We'll see.
Yeah. So another thing back on the plumbing of our body. So it's
Yes.
60,000 miles of cardiovascular. 60,000 miles. Do you think that's true? Or is that some old twisted?
Well, here's
gonna
why
be
it
a
can
lot.
be true, Nick, because the heart isn't a pump. If the heart was a pump, that's BS.
right.
You notice how the lungs, this is what Tom Cowan says, Dr. Tom Cowan. He says, and he wrote a book on more or less on the heart not being a pump. It's called Human Heart, Cosmic Heart. And right after the blood leaves the heart, it goes to the lungs. And the lungs have the smallest capillaries in the body, because that's where the oxygen is exchanging and the CO2 is exchanging with the blood most profoundly. So you've got the smallest tiny little tubes in the whole body in your lungs, so small that the red blood cells have to fold themselves to go through. The kind of pressure that's required to fold red blood cells and get it through those millions, billions, whatever of the tiny vasculature in the lungs, the pressure required, according to Tom Cowan, would be a heart the size of this room that I'm sitting in.
Mathematically.
Yeah. So the instead, it is a water structuring device that is giving the blood and the water that makes up the blood a self-propulsion quality, which is a two-part thing. One is the vasculature itself has a layer of structured water that is negatively charged, that's gel-like the water in our cells. So it's coagulated gel that lines the inside of these tubes, even down to the smallest level. That's slightly negatively charged based off its geometry, just how water is arranged with itself to make a gel. So that doesn't have to include proteins even. It's not like Jell-O, although there is proteins in the cytoplasm, but you can actually get this gel without any proteins whatsoever. It's just water arranged in a certain way to where it's in this fourth phase. So that's the whole fourth phase of water thing. And so you got the vasculature, which is like hydrophilic, I think, or phobic, one of the two, but it just the material that the vasculature is made of, plus water and electricity, life force, equals this gel water that lines the inside of the vasculature that's slightly negative. And then the water that runs through it is slightly positive compared to that. And you get a charge differential that moves the blood through the tube.
It's like those maglev trains.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that makes so much sense. And the cell salt, tissue cell salt for Leo, which is the cardiovascular system at the heart, is magnesium, which is peristalsis and magnetism.
Well, it says mag right in the name now, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
And all the really technical biohackers still absolutely die for magnesium. You know, all these other supplements come and go in popularity, but magnesium stays.
Yeah. You got to have magnesium, otherwise you won't be absorbing your calcium.
Yep.
Yeah. So
I've heard that.
number one sign of magnesium deficiency is those little white rock hard pimples you get on your eyelids, sometimes your cheek. Yes.
What was the other one besides the eyelids?
Anywhere like around the eye, cheek, kind of, but usually on the face, usually on the eye, a lot of times on the eyelid. Magnesium deficiency.
I wonder if this relates to why people get acne when they drink milk or go for dairy products, because that's high in calcium. Would that put a strain on their magnesium and give them pimples?
Yeah, it might. Or it's just, yes, it's too much calcium for the magnesium supply in the body to process.
And
so
so
then
are you
pops
talking
out.
about because pimples? I mean, I had a lot of acne as a kid and I drank a lot of milk.
Yeah, it wasn't even those really rock hard calcium pimples.
I got those in my ears. I still have them in my ears, like in my earlobe.
Ears.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I'm pretty sure that's magnesium deficiency.
And because the calcium isn't being handled right.
Yeah, and it's just
Oh, wow.
sitting around.
And in
Wow.
order for all of these minerals to even absorb and work properly, our intestines have to be cleared and cleaned.
And all the tubes,
Yeah.
all the millions of tubes,
The lymph and
you know,
the vessels and
all of it.
Yeah.
The hydrogen man Greg said we had ghost veins. And that there just tells me everything. Blockages and then probably empty veins because there's a block right there. We got to clear those blocks up.
And then we've got to like revitalize the tissue because it's been atrophying.
Yep.
Right? Yeah. So, you know, I've made personal progress with giving myself proper nutrition, not just fasting myself to death. I've done a little bit of that, and it's been a really great experience, and it's calmed me down and helped me reprioritize how my mind, you know, things in my mind. It's very clarifying and good, but I do feel like it's generally stressing, like, you know, I've said before, even on this episode. So, you know, I'm just so thankful for Zen Cleanse, because after I do Zen Cleanse, I feel so much more capable of fasting in a healthy way. And I think long term, the real magic is fasting intelligently.
Yep, definitely. Yeah. Yeah, we did a 5-day fast. That's the longest that we've done. Well, that I've done. I don't know.
5-day water fast, 5-day
Yeah.
hydrogen water fast too, which might be different a little bit. It's super negatively charged hydrogen water. And then followed it up with like 1.5 days. We were hardcore juicing back then too. Like we would put lime and orange peel in there, and wow, juice strong.
But like Nick ended up suffering. What was it? Your
Charlie
muscle-
horses
muscle
during the
cramping.
fast.
So it like depleted the.
Zinc, I think, because it was Charlie horse in my lower calf, which
Isn't that a
I guess is
magnesium
a
thing?
zinc. Because,
Yeah, it is.
well,
Magnesium.
definitely, it's got to
Yeah,
be
right?
magnesium
Right?
too.
Yeah.
And then I guess if there's a cramp in your lower calf, I heard it was related to zinc. It's probably, I mean, we're made of like 120 minerals. I probably dropped like a ton of. So I think maybe urine fasting would be the best.
Yeah, you need to keep the mineral uptake while you're fasting.
Yeah, fasting on urine and then putting it, 360 on all your tissues.
I think topical has a lot of potential because our livers are so stressed. And yeah, you know, when we take things in through an enema or through our mouth, it goes to help the freaking out liver, and the rest of the body gets shorted. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah,
That's why I love the skin so much. It's like my favorite way.
Yeah.
To use urine.
And then our tissues pump out happy hormones, which like you hear the bodybuilding people talk about. It's like, you know, if you don't have muscle, you don't have a good metabolism, or you don't have happy hormones. There's something to that. Happy tissue is like has a happy milieu that it pumps out. Unhappy tissue has an unhappy milieu that it pumps out. For sure. So if we just directly, yeah.
Yeah.
What else? What about like the extreme importance of shedding the intestines? Because, well, so in astrology, the sixth house is the house of health, and it's the intestines. So I
Virgo,
mean,
right? Virgo.
and Virgo, yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, if they, it's already been decided.
I just want to say in the sky, Virgo is one of the larger signs, and even on the ecliptic, it's taking up a lot of space on the ecliptic. So
it's a big
it's
deal.
important. It's important.
Yeah.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah.
And the intestines take up like a lot of your body too. Like,
Yes.
it's a big organ
Yeah.
compared to the heart, liver, spleen, pancreas. That's a big juicy organ. Makes sense.
We should chew our food more. That just came to me. We should get more digestion started in the mouth, shouldn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, one thing I like
Helps a
to
lot.
do is like, when you're juicing, you don't chew juice. Like it's really weird to like chew juice. So I like to put hemp seeds in it.
Oh,
And
so you
then
do get something to chew. I've chewed juice before. I'm not saying
know.
it's not weird.
It's weird.
But I don't know. I've tried.
You just swash it around and try to just swirl some saliva into
Right.
it. and just
That's
let
it.
hang out.
But no, Crystal, I love that idea. You put
Yeah.
something in there to
Yeah.
actually
And,
chew on.
and then,
Yeah.
and then you get that yummy hemp protein too.
Mm-hmm.
Very good. Yeah.
Oh,
chewing
I
your-
mean-
chewing-
I appreciate how wide reaching the subject is. I just want to bring this up so it's in the minds. Something I've been researching lately is that muscle meat is really inflammatory type proteins. And I'm not trying to push people eating animal products. What I'm trying to do is take a look at the entirety of protein and see what's going on just from a scientific point of view. So like glycine seems to help people with IBS big time. It's a connective protein that is in connective tissue and organs, but it's like not in muscle meat at all. So the idea is that, organ meat, bone broths, these were way more common in the human diet, and muscle meat it's just straight poison, constipating crap. And there's no good reason for it other than, sort of getting high. But then having said that, you could say, well, connective tissue has a place, especially for people with IBS, which everybody has leaky bowel, intestinal problems. And glycine and proline, which are in gelatin in particular, or collagen, seem to help a lot with that. And so I'm wondering if there's, vegan options for glycine, proline, or just generally what we can do to heal IBS from a vegan point of view. But I want to point out, if we complement connective tissues, we have a really good logical argument for saying muscle meat is slave poison food. If you just throw out the entirety of animal products, it's just a little too strong of a statement. But
I guess the only thing for me is when we eat any sort of animal product, whether it be the milk, the eggs, which aren't harming the animal, obviously. I mean, it is to some extent because of how they may be raised. But anyways, that's not the topic. But then you're getting the animal consciousness.
Yeah. Yep. I'm with you on that.
Yeah, that's but I suppose like if you are suffering from like certain things like IBS, for instance, that there are no other ways. I'm not aware.
I
of any
don't
other
know.
way.
I'm not willing to go that extreme. I think urine probably has everything just in small amounts. For instance,
Stem cells. If you age it a lot, you can get 100 million stem cells. Stem
What
cells
about-
can repair.
And then
and-
obviously eliminating the stuff that's creating the leaky gut. like
that's what I wanted to
gluten.
say next. That's what I wanted to
Yeah.
say next. Yeah. Because like the stuff that I've gotten off my intestines from Zen Cleanse is like gelatin isn't going to fix that. But come on now. It's like, yeah,
Right.
yeah. So
Yeah.
basically, I love fasting, but I wouldn't recommend it without Zen cleansing, too much fasting without Zen cleansing. I love going vegan, but I really wouldn't recommend it unless you did get some Zen cleanse. I mean, I'm glad I kind of worked my way around to that point, because that's something I really can say strongly and believe in. Like,
I agree.
we
Yeah.
want
Get
we
out
want
the bulk
veganism
of it.
to keep its good name and whatnot. We don't want to stress people to the point of failure.
No. And the thing is you've got to take it in baby steps. You can't like just be like one morning wake up, oh, I'm going to cut it all out. That's when you get sick.
Yeah.
And then that's when the people come out and say, oh, being vegan is unhealthy because I got sick. You got to take it in baby steps. And then the Zen cleanse is only going to help you along your journey.
Yeah. Yeah, you really do. It's gonna make the people that are transitioning in the future, is getting easier and easier for them, because with stuff like this, getting the bulk of all that junk out of the 26-foot long intestinal tract, which is responsible for your mood and all your nutrient uptake, getting all that out, get all the crap out your liver, and it's gonna be way easier. Everything's gonna be easier now that we have this technology.
Yeah.
Are
And
you ready to open up your consciousness and open up your heart? That's the big question. It's like, can your soul energies come through your body enough? Can you handle the love? That's going to be the question for people. Are you ready to be healthy? All right, can you handle it?
No.
Yeah, like I've had to take stop certain things in my life to go down this path of health. I had to spend more time alone and find new friends and reprioritize how I spend my time, because it's a big energetic shift. Yeah, like so everybody take care of yourself, take it easy, but like probably the royal way to go about it, like I said, is just buy a ton of Zencleanz. Man, I would if I could.
It's the easiest, most convenient, one of the most convenient ways. Really.
100%.
Especially the intestinal. Because it's like
Yeah.
one day and like, I mean, essentially it's 2 days, because you have to one day you have to be home drinking the product. And then the next day you should be home at least half the day to eliminate.
Mhm.
But then once that, that's not very long. You could do it over a weekend for those people that work,
It's just
Monday through Friday.
not
And
even
then
comparable.
the food cravings are that's when you are able to step away from all the things, all the things we don't want to be putting in our body, because you're not craving it.
Mhm.
You're talking about how there's a little bit of a challenge that comes into the system like week or two after, especially your first intestinal cleanse, right? Where it's like you experience more cravings every time.
No, I'm saying the opposite. For
Oh.
me anyways, I didn't my food cravings were they
No, it's because you're a yogi already. Must be.
Oh.
Well, yeah, I
I
guess
had
what I was
cravings.
experiencing was there was this sense of I had some kind of defense system, psychic defense system that was associated with the mucus blockages. And I felt undefended. I felt vulnerable when I got rid of all that clog. Right.
Yeah.
So then I wanted to eat
For emotional
for emotion.
support.
It was totally not the same as like a nutrient deficiency type feeling.
Right.
Not at all.
Yeah.
I had that too.
Yeah.
Man, I ate a lot for the next week.
You
You should have seen the freaking fat that I pooped out though. Where was that sitting? How did so much undigested fat
Yeah.
came out? It was disgusting. That was my first one. It was all undigested fat. And I could feel that sitting in there too. I just knew it was just a pile of sick blob. And we've been eating the Dr. Sebi alkaline diet for like 7 years. And how much worse would it have been before that diet? And then, that's everything organic as can be. We've done everything is all that was sitting in all this fat. What?
Yeah, and the diet didn't take it out, but the Zen Cleanse did.
Yeah, let's continue on this subject for a little bit. Pictures from Santos, pictures from Brother Sage. You guys, y'all have been on the good diet train for a long time, and you two and those two gentlemen were kind enough to share pictures of their results. And actually, I noticed that in clean people like you all do in Zen Cleanse, there was more fat that came out than in most other people. One fun fact, but in general, more came out of you two, Santos and Brother Sage, than any of the other clients that I've seen.
I think it's because it's not so stuck. Like
That's why.
foods that
Yes.
we've been eating have been
Yeah.
slowly loosening. Yeah.
Yep. So it's so bad in everybody. That's the answer.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yes.
It's not that y'all are worse. Come on now.
Ha ha ha. Oh, yuck. So that food was just like halfway, quarter way detoxing us. It had more advantages than it had disadvantages, obviously.
I think it shows that I can't shut up about so many of these topics, but it shows that like the general conception of the cycles of time in like the Hindu philosophy, where everything's perfect in the beginning, and then just as time moves along, things get worse and worse and worse and worse until at the very end of time, it just like Phoenix rising from the ashes again. And it's just like, yes, things are that bad. Things are that devolved, and it helps make sense of the world we're living in. It's not actually that terribly depressing to admit how bad things are. It's actually quite clarifying and liberating. That's the spiel.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it is
Wow.
liberating. Yeah,
God.
because like once you realize, well, I've been through like this like long process. Like at one point, I was like learning all about the conspiracies. This is back in like 1999, and my mind is just like getting blown. And,
I was 4.
Huh?
I was
You were
4.
Yeah, I was 19. And yeah, where was I going with that?
Oh, well, you probably got a little depressed, didn't you?
Yeah, I would like focus on it, like
Mhm.
on all this like bad stuff, and then I'd like prepare. What am I gonna do? How can I help? And all that. And now I'm aware, but I don't need to focus on it. Like it's happening. It's happening how it's supposed to happen. All of this wouldn't be happening if it wasn't like meant to be.
Mhm.
I trust you.
It's free.
I trust you, Crystal.
So we got to embrace even the nasty stuff, but don't
Yeah.
focus on it. Like just let it.
How are we going to heal it? Right? Like, by ignoring it? No. But yeah, like, not letting it weigh us down.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, this is like why people should be, oh God, I can't say it like that. Why I am happy to pay for Zen Cleanse, because there is no better way to spend my money than on something that clears a problem I cannot clear any other way.
Right.
Yeah. Where I don't have to go through some, big mental, struggle to clear something.
Yeah.
It actually helps mental health to go down the Zen Cleanse route, because then you don't have to be so damn picky with where you live, what you eat, what your thoughts are, in order to stay sane nowadays. Yeah. So just admit that you need this and give yourself a break. Oh, you cut out.
It's an investment in a lot of different things. Your future. Oh, it's an investment in a lot of different things. I mean, are we gonna want our intestine to continuously rot with all this acidic mucus and parasite infestation and cutting holes in our gut? I had an iridology reading. He says there's 6 holes in your gut. He could count them. Ron Logan. He's over 80 years old. He's one of America's leading iridologists. Anyways, he said there's 6 holes in my gut, and he even said where in my gut.
This is just from the eye.
And it's
Reading the eye.
leaking. Yeah, and it's leaking. So it all leaks into our hips. So it's leaking. Where's it leaking? Down into
that
our
makes sense.
hips.
That makes
Yeah,
sense.
so our hips are always stiff. She's got to do hip yoga every day. Why do I do hip yoga every day? It's because everyone's got leaks from the super acidic wheat, and everything's acidic. And then he says mine's leaking down to my right knee, and I'm like, whoa, my right knee hurts all the time. And when does it hurt the most? When I overeat, and it stretches and presses on my and expands my intestines, and opens up those probably 1-inch tears, even a little bit more. And then all that food, shit, acid, schmut, gunk finds a way to leak down, goes to my right knee. My right knee hurts every time I overeat, still does.
Even good food.
And he figured that out from looking at my eye. So anyways, my point was, are we
No,
gonna
no,
wanna
I'm
live-
really with you on the intestinal barrier problems. I've gotten into a habit of within the past couple of weeks of saying everybody has IBS. I think it's true.
They do, and a little bit of SIBO, bacterial, and they all got tears and cuts, and
But then
scrapes
fasting
and-
your ass off, creates another set of problems. At a certain point, people will have to do Zen Cleanse. The way we're going, things get bad enough. It's like just may source protect this company and its integrity.
I know, and I think
you
it,
know?
I think it will. I really think it will. So I
You
mean,
know,
yeah.
it's kind of it's got a pretty high price point. It requires like conscious interaction with it. Like I don't know, people who are not proactive with their health probably won't even hear about this. So in a way that kind of keeps the integrity of the whole thing and keeps it growing healthfully, because it is a little bit intense.
Huh. Yeah,
So that's
are we
good.
gonna-
Just keeping
are we-
it safe.
Are we gonna want this whole 26-foot thing rotting and like irreversibly rotten by 60 years old, 70 years old? I mean, let's take some responsibility for our experience in the next 10 years, 20 years. And if it rots, I mean, that's gonna affect your whole life, your mood, because all your serotonin's made there. It's gonna be dripping down all this shit. You're gonna be miserable.
Yeah,
mean,
but I've been learning some stuff. I know I get a little specific because I really appreciate what you're saying. Been learning about bacterial overgrowth and serotonin in the gut in general. Like, we generally want less in the gut, which speaks to what we're generally talking about here. It seems that SIBO is bacterial overgrowth, for example, but generally having a large amount of bacteria in the gut is related to high serotonin, and high serotonin is bad. The Ray Peat forums that I've been on lately and just looking at Ray Peat material, serotonin seems to be a stress mediator, not a mood enhancer.
Right, serotonin syndrome.
Yeah, right. So it's like that's because serotonin is at root a stress response as opposed to dopamine, which has positive potential in excess. Even though, like a lot of drugs that make people happy but are also subject to abuse are increasing dopamine in different parts of the brain, like alcohol, opiates. Both of those are increasing dopamine just in different parts of the brain. But at the same time, both those give you like IBS. Anyway, this is just something I'm going on about recently. But the conclusion that is practical is that we want less in the gut. We want less bacteria in the gut. So natural antibiotics would include vitamin K or all the quinones. which are highest in green things. I hear in chlorella in particular, vitamin K has a little natural antibiotic quality to it. Insoluble fiber in general has a antibiotic quality. And, you know, we're eating fiber as part of the Zen Cleanse. So, and then we're getting rid of a lot of what was making up kind of the bad terrain in there. So perhaps it could be shown that Zen Cleanse actually has an antibiotic quality that is helpful. I wouldn't be surprised at all. You know, antibiotics are generally decimating, but they do save lives. You know, I'm not pro. I'm saying that, you know, just insoluble fiber is naturally antibiotic. Like, I don't think people know that enough. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah. I think, like, as far as like taking responsibility of our own health, there's like so many different things that we can be doing. You don't have to like go and take the white coats antibiotics.
Yeah, no, not at all.
Yeah.
I think I'm saying I'm gonna be staying clear from probiotic foods. That's just a
Got it.
little trip I'm going on lately. I'm gonna be staying away from it.
sauerkraut and like all the fermented foods.
Yeah, I'm not going to do
kombucha.
that for a while and just see if I'm happier
Yeah.
that way. You know, like babies are born with not that much of a gut biome,
Mm,
is
yeah.
part of the
Yeah,
idea.
like, we were doing, well, I love fermented foods, and then when Nick and I got together, I quit fermented like foods pretty much altogether. And we got sauerkraut the other day, and it was kind of like,
Too acidic,
yeah, it like stung.
sizzled, because we've
Yeah.
been so alkaline for so long. We're trying to be.
There's also so much salt added to that. You're probably, you know, appropriately sensitized to the toxicity of rock salt at this point.
Sure.
But yeah, you know, so if you type in Ray Peat, serotonin, gut microbiome, stuff like that, just generally more bacteria equals higher serotonin, more bacteria equals more endotoxin. So a lot of this bacterial overgrowth of especially the bad bacteria, which, yeah, is different from the good bacteria, but the bad bacteria are producing endotoxin, which is gram-positive bacteria in the gut that are dying, and then their corpses are endotoxin. And endotoxin is really, really toxic. That's what they injected Wim Hof when he did his like breathing thing in the hospital to show that he could survive anything. They just injected him with straight endotoxin. So generally having a gut microbiome that's lower in endotoxin means a generally less bacterial overgrown gut. And natural antibiotics seem to be the option here, which means fasting, insoluble fiber, vitamin K. I don't know any others.
Okay. And then how do the enzymes play into all of that?
You know, we're getting rid of so much. Like I'm pro enema, and then I'm pro like sloughing off a layer of intestines with Zencleanz. You know, just from an outsider's perspective on those opinions, it looks like I just am decimating the gut microbiome, doesn't it? Like,
Yeah,
you know, sloughing
How do you
off
feel?
the you know, the layers on the inside of it.
Right.
And my understanding of the bacteria situation in the gut is it's supposed to be in the colon more than it's supposed to be in the small intestine. Like SIBO is when bacteria that should be farther down makes its way up, I
Wow.
believe. But even then, I'm super pro enema. You are too. We don't have any problems doing a lot of enemas a day. You would be dead, Mr. 30.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, I'm just really doubting how much, like, we can basically just clear house on the intestines, like just you know, completely clear it. And it's not going to cause, it's not harmful. I
Yeah,
can say
it'll
that in full confidence. It's not harmful to do that. Yeah.
It'll balance itself back out as the body always does.
Mhm.
If we allow it.
Mhm. I'm not like, you know, take antibiotics every day. Nowhere close
Yeah.
to saying that. No. But I do think getting a layer of crap off of there is going to completely change the bacterial environment. It must. Bacteria are pleomorphic. they change shape based off of their environment. There is no such thing as a singular bacteria that is always that strain. They are fundamentally shape-shifting.
Wow.
And Rife discovered that, or rediscovered it. But he's really the one that people refer to for evidence of this. There's something called the somatoscope. I have Nissan's or something. I have it. Where is it? Yeah, something called the somatoscope, and it was some guy named, I got it right here. I've been wanting to watch this video for a month. I haven't closed the tab.
Should we share? Do you want to share the screen or?
Yeah, here's a video from, yeah, here, I'll share the screen.
Okay, I might have to, I don't know if actually.
But I can describe it. Actually need to use the restroom 1 minute here. But Yummy Doctor, which is Amanda Vollmer's channel. She has a video on her website, Yummy Doctor, yummy.doctor website. The somatid cycle and Gaston Nissan discussing his somatoscope. And it's the life cycle of the shape-shifting bacteria and how it relates to the fundamental life unit called the somatid, otherwise known as the endobiont, which is immortal, tiny little beings, like in Star Wars, the fucking midichlorians. Little immortal life units that float around the blood that coagulate together and then shapeshift into higher forms that are more easily visible, like bacteria.
Oh, interesting. Huh.
And the more stressed they get, the more they turn into these ugly things. Yeah.
Wow. What are we going to learn in 10 years from now?
Here,
Yeah.
maybe I could give. Well, we're gonna be moving towards this immortal perspective. This there's no need to suffer and die perspective. Really, this topic is important because it's super terrain theory vibes. It's there's no such thing as a bad bacteria. Because bacteria exist even though germs don't. So viruses don't even freaking exist, but bacteria exist. So it's should we be afraid of bacteria? No, because they're totally shape-shifting. So the summary on this video, and it's a 16-minute video if you want to link people to it, it reads like this. It says, this video only highlights the 13 cycle offshoot of the bacteria formation and not the entire cycle. We must ask a big question here. Why is modern medicine ignoring this huge field of study, an entire line of fundamental cells in the body, meaning these root cells that morph into the various types of bacteria, which are fundamental to our bodies. So it's not like we can get rid of all bacteria. The somatids remain those fundamental building blocks of bacteria. So you can eat as much insoluble fiber and take as much vitamin K as you want, and you're not going to, or even destroy yourself with pharmaceutical antibiotics, and you're not going to get rid of the root of bacteria growth in the body. Nissan's developed a light microscope of his own design, which he calls the somatoscope, which permits enlargements of 30,000 diameters with a high degree of resolution, 150 angstroms. With this, he followed Béchamp, Rife. Those are the two big ones, but in this, Béchamp generally for terrain theory and refuting Pasteur. There's books of Pasteur versus Béchamp. And then Rife, who was really great with this pleomorphism thing because he saw that these cells were different under different vibrational conditions with the Rife machines and everything. And then Enderlein, who I know nothing about, in showing that bacteria and other microorganisms arise from degenerated subcellular components of higher organisms. Just trash. Trash cleanup. That's what that reads to me. What were earlier called microzymas or protits were called Nissan's somatids, immortal particles of life which survive the death of the individual.
So we are immortal, like a piece of us, obviously, a piece of our physical body is immortal.
Yeah,
That's what it comes down to.
right, like you could make a pretty good argument that like water is living and is immortal, but
Sure.
a little more on the nose of like an organism that is immortal. Yes, there's tiny little cells that respond to their environment, kind of, fit the definition of a living being, like these somatids called endobionts or somatids. They're like little tiny beings that are immortal. Yeah, exactly.
That's so cool.
Yeah, which is like a little more complex and more like an organism than just the fact that you can't destroy matter or something. It's
Right.
more than matter. When the individual is unhealthy, the somatid passes through a multi-stage cycle of degeneration and regeneration, and each stage in turn being capable of independent life and reproduction. The degenerated stages of somatids give rise to bacteria and other microorganisms under acid and acid-base conditions. And then the quote is, the somatid is indestructible. It cannot be killed, either by heat or by any chemical product. Secondly, the somatid has to be present in any kind of cellular division. The somatid permits growth hormone, and that permits the cell to divide correctly. Although I think too much growth hormone is a bad thing. This is talking about on a very, very small fundamental level. It is not the somatid that secretes the growth hormone. It is the transformation of the somatid that liberates the growth hormone, but it is not a secretion of the somatid. The somatid originates in a liquid form inside the red blood cell. Each transformation of the somatid generates a new secretion of growth hormones. He also has noted that somatids are electrocharged particles. The membrane has a negative charge, the nucleus has a positive charge, and this can be verified by putting the positive pole of a magnet near the slides, and all the somatids are attracted to the positive pole of the magnet. That's cool. With this understanding, which Rockefeller-based modern medicine conveniently ignores to sell us poison drugs and vaccines that damage somatids, we can see they are working with a false idea of infection. This is Amanda Vollmer speaking. Disease derived from within. Contagion via bacterial contamination happens in a susceptible or toxic person only. And other contagions are from weather conditions, as the Chinese knew so well. Emotional shock and other vibrational understandings like harmonic resonance, which, in the Zen Cleanse community, they talk about internal dampness a lot, which relates not only to diet, but also to how warm your body is on a regular basis. A lot of people living in cold climates that eat dampening foods have a lot of internal dampness that we're seeing be cleared by Zencleanz. It's funny that Amanda makes particular note of that here. The double spore stage with its beaded-like appearance is what all the blind virologists are studying. Just like, an ugly stage of this immortal life unit. Oh no, look at it, scary, making up lies of infectivity when viruses do not exist at all. It is the somatids changing shape. I guess that's what I'm so in love with, is like the immortal, never stressed, totally one with, the infinite principles somatid is the very thing that gets so ugly and seems to cause all the disease. It's like we're never separate from source and all that.
Yeah.
Whoa, that's some revolutionary bacterial insights.
So I'm not afraid of clearing house in the intestines at all. I think that's sort of what I was trying to get at. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Just clear it out, man. Just fuck it.
Well,
Over it. Because like you said, like when you're first born, it's very pure.
I don't have the proof of this. This is what I heard from people I trust. They talk about it's like, going through the vaginal canal gives your skin like a microbiome, but that's not going to create a robust internal microbiome just because you went through the vaginal canal. It's going to just like seed some of the right stuff, but certainly in babies, there's not this massive overgrowth of bacteria. They're generally pretty empty on the inside. They've been drinking urine, you know, and not heavy on the calories quite yet. So their intestines are not overburdened. It seems to be the assertion. And they're not dead, you know. It's like you don't need to be full of poop and bacteria. You really don't.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I've done like 5 Zen cleanses.
The intestinal, yeah.
So they say you do it like you want to wait a couple weeks. What is it, 3 weeks, 2 weeks?
Yeah, 3 weeks.
Because there's some kind of reset. Because it kind of
Right.
takes it off like in a large layer, and your body needs to reform some kind of layer in order for it to have a successful slough off again on the neck. You know more about that than me because you did it more often. Did you feel like you got everything out after 5? What do you think?
No, I initially, right when I heard the product, I intuitively just knew I need to do 20 of them. And I still think I need to do 20 of them.
You sure that's not just liver backup? You sure you shouldn't move to the liver product?
Who knows?
Yeah, well, we're doing both.
Yeah.
Yeah, like alternating. Like we don't really have like a necessary or like a particular what would you call it, protocol. Like we just do it when we feel it.
Totally.
How many has Maddie done? Because
Yeah.
I heard she did like 12 or 17 or 14 like months ago.
She did a lot of both. She did more of the liver. You know, I mean, the stuff is food. It's going to repair when it's done clearing. So if you have holes in your intestines, brother, probably the intestinal ones, for sure.
Right. Well,
Lots of work to do.
Maybe
That's for
maybe you need some bone broth, man. I don't know. You know, glycine. I gotta find out a vegan source of glycine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let us know when you. find that.
My mother had some really bad issues with intestinal wall failure, you know, of splitting of the intestinal wall. So it's super on my mind too. So I'm gonna go for the healing no matter where I find it on that. It's a big issue.
oh, well, they say the Dietary there heals holes in the gut, tears in the gut.
Well, I guess I need more faith then. Yeah. Yeah, but I'm done eating muscle meat. I tell you that. Let's do that.
Yeah, I bet that feels better, huh?
Oh yeah, I love this thing.
Yeah.
Thank you
Yeah,
for your
so-
time today, guys. It's been a
Yeah.
lot of fun.
Yep.
Yeah,
It's supposed
thank
to be-
you.
We should keep it at a good time so we don't take up everyone's.
Yeah. For all the listeners.
What else could they want to learn about? This is the most important stuff.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you what? You die. Are you in the mood to die right now?
What do you want to talk about? Like Russia, Ukraine,
Yeah.
the Dalai
go on.
Lama?
Yeah.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, we could go all day. I know
Yeah.
we could, but yeah. Thanks again, Matt.
Oh, thank you guys. Yeah.
Okay.
Much love.
Yeah. Many blessings.
Yep.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.